I am Master Brian Duncan. I am here with Mick today in Oak Ridge, Tennessee at TTJC, Tennessee Taekwondo and Judo College, to demonstrate basic Hapkido pivots. There are 12 basic pivots in Hapkido, and Hapkido is primarily based on the footwork for those 12 pivots. The footwork is the most important feature of these pivots. It's getting yourself out of the way, out of danger, and putting yourself in a position to gain control of a situation. Hapkido basically is different than a lot of martial arts in that with some martial arts you're learning how to fight. Hapkido, you're learning basically how not to fight. Master Un, my instructor, has mentioned many times in Hapkido, nobody gets hurt. That's the ideal situation where you can deflect an attack and gain control without anybody having to get hurt. However, in the more advanced Hapkido techniques, we do learn how to defend ourselves to the extreme level if it becomes necessary. Basic Hapkido stance is right foot forward. That's, for us right-handers, that's kind of unusual, but your heart basically makes a left turn, the lower part of your heart, so we're going to protect our heart by putting our right foot forward and turning our bodies slightly. Hands up. All Hapkido is done with open hands. As far as the pivots and grabs, we basically, hands are open and we use them like hooks instead of fists. So pivot one is simply someone grabs me and pulls me toward them. Pivot, trap the hand, scoot. Trap, scoot. With pivot number one, I'm in Hapkido stance. Mick's going to reach out and grab my hand. He's going to pull, slide step, slide step. So then I'm going to bring him down. As he's got my hand, I just bring my hand up. I refer to it as looking at my watch. I'm going to trap his hand. Now once I've got his hand trapped, all he's got me with is his thumb. So that hand's going to come out. I'm going to place this other hand here on the back of his hand, and I'm going to bend his wrist the way it's not supposed to go. Not enough to do any real damage, but enough to get his attention and to make him want to fall down. In order to protect himself, he's going to fall down. So push, coming this way. The elbow is going to be twisted, the wrist is going to be twisted. So as he pulls this up, I trap, grab the hand, down it goes.
Tie it! Tie it!
Hands up. Somebody grabs me and tries to pull me in the other direction. I'll go one step. Step, turn, scoot. Stop, turn, pivot. Pivot number two, Mick's going to grab me, pull me past this way. Again, slide step, trap the hand. This comes out. I'm coming back this way. Down he goes. Pivot number two.
Tie it!
And what you see Mick doing is a judo backfall. He's slapping the ground to take all the energy away from his back and the back of his head, hitting the ground. The first thing I'm going to do is pivot to my left. With my right foot, I'm going to do a press block, where I've got the hand out of the way. I'm safe here. I'm going to trap this hand. Then I'm going to do left, right, down. And the left foot slides, the right foot comes through. Mick is going to attack, try to stab me with a knife. So my first move, get out of the way, press block. Good press block, and then a snatch. So pivot number three, press block, step, step, down we go.
Tie it!
Pivot number four is very similar to number three, it just goes in a different direction. If for whatever reason we can't make a left turn, we can't go to our left, we're going to modify it slightly. Press block, press block, right, left. With pivot number four, if I can't turn left, if say I'm up against a wall, something's going on over here I don't want to get in the middle of, I can't turn that way. So with pivot four, slowly, I'm going to pivot. I still want to make sure I keep this knife away from me. Do not want to get stabbed or cut. I'm going to step back in front of Mick, smile at him, bring this hand around and then bring this wrist. The way I teach this is I try to take this pinky and I tell people to put it on the ground, touch the ground with it. If I press that hard enough, down we go. If someone is trying to take your life, you may have to employ drastic measures. So with pivot number 4, there's another version. Block here, right into his own gut. Pivot number 5 is done if someone's going to strike you over the top of the head. So the first thing we're going to do is a high block. Once we've got the high block, we're going to grab the back of the neck, pivot, and throw the attacker on an angle away from us. So pivot number 5. Okay, with number 5, Mick is going to try to very gently hit me over the head to start with. I'm going to do a high block. Once I've got the high block, again, my hand is open. I'm going to use it like a hook. Now I've got his hand, his arm secure. I'm going to grab him by the back of the neck, and I'm going to spin, and I'm going to throw him that way. Pivot number 6. It's very similar to pivot number 5, but instead of grabbing the back of the neck, we're going to put our hand on the back of the elbow, secure the arm, spin using the elbow, bring our opponent to the ground and hold them there. Instead of tossing somebody away from us, we're actually going to get a grip on them, hold them down on the floor. Instead of, when Mick tries to hit me over the head, I still do the high block. Instead of getting him by the back of the neck, I get the elbow. I pivot, keep coming around, down on my left knee. Also, this elbow is in real precarious position here if I've got it blocked up good and tight. If he tries to get up, all I gotta do is push on that elbow a little bit and he will not fight. Pivot number 7 incorporates a double hand block if someone's going to do a roundhouse swing. So what I want to do is get inside of that swing, double hand block, secure the hand, take them down. Mick's going to take a big roundhouse swing. I'm going to step in and do a double hand block. A couple things I can do on top of that. Again, I've got hooks for hands, so I want to get this secured. I'm going to bring this around, get a hold of this hand. Now once I've got this, step through and down. That requires you have real good dexterity with your hands and you don't miss. So the way it's supposed to be done. Another way to do pivot number 7 is converting it after you do the initial block into essentially pivot number 5. That's how these pivots actually flow, go from one to another. This is one of those transition type pivots. So he makes a swing, I block, and instead of bringing this arm under, I'm simply going to block this here, back of the neck, pivot, spin it that way. Pivot number 8 also uses a hip throw. It's the only pivot where we actually block with our left hand. So if someone's coming overhead at you, going to swing at you, we're going to pivot in, that high block, got our left hand here, get both hands, throw. Number 8, I'm in my Hapkido stance. Mick is going to step in and try to hit me over the head. I'm going to do a left high block. I'm going to step in, step 2 of the pivot, step in. Now I've got his arms, and I'm simply going to do a hip throw from here.
X! 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 X!
Pivot number 9 is used if someone swings at you, misses, and starts to come back this way. So what we're going to do when the pivot comes down here, we're going to step inside that pivot, catch the arm as it comes back. So pivot number 9, it's 2 big S turns. We're going to turn an S turn out and an S turn back. So it looks like this. Pivot number 9, it's 2 big S turns. Mick is going to swing and miss, And as he starts to come back, I pivot back this way. My foot should be pretty close to his. It probably should be closer than that. This is the perfect position for this pivot. Once I've got him here, I've got this arm secured, trap it, turn back around, and I can dump him. And when Mick misses the swing, I come back around, bring him down here. All right, pivot 10 is very similar to pivot number 9, but instead of the big S turns, we're going to do an X pattern. So instead of the big S turn that we do in number 9, big 90-degree turns, we're simply going to do a little 45-degree turn. This is better for confined spaces. It's much quicker. So pivot number 10. Pivot number 10 is very similar. Instead of a big kind of a roundhouse swing, it's more of a chop type swing. And it's going to be much faster. From my Hapkido stance, right, left, right.
Cut! Cut!
All right, number 11. We teach this a lot as if somebody's shaking our hand and trying to crush our hand. So what we're going to do, get a good grip best you can. We've got our left hand free. We're going to step through with the left foot, slide through, and swing with the left hand. So our feet are right here. We're not going to step again. We're simply going to pivot our feet, bring the arm over the head, slide this way. Pivot number 11, we're shaking hands. Mick is trying to crush my hand. Mick's got me, tearing my hand apart. Take my left hand, step through with my left foot, pivot my feet, down, scoot through, down. Pivot 12 is very, again, similar to number 11, but instead of scooting and bringing our opponent backwards, we're actually going to pull an arm through. It can be kind of dangerous. You've got the arm bent, and if you pull it too hard, you can do some damage. It's one of the safety aspects of training for Hapkido. You need to be very, very careful. So with number 12 again, just somebody's got our hand, we're going to take our left hand and step through. But instead of, we're going to bring the hand over, but instead of scooting forward, we're actually going to take this arm, bring our right foot back through. All right, pivot number 12, same as 11, only instead of sliding forward and bringing him backwards, I'm going to step through, start the lawnmower, and flip him. And same pivot, turn, and now I'm going to take my right foot, step through, and pull it all the way through and start the lawnmower. I hope this video has been helpful and that students are able to pick up the pivots, use this as a resource in their training.